Hello, my lovelies. How are you? San Diego Padres. I'm not really a big baseball fan, but I'm proud of San Diego, my hometown, so I buy goods that say San Diego. I should buy more stuff that says UCSD, University of California, San Diego, because that is my alma mater. That is the university I graduated from, and I'm very proud of UCSD. I think it's a great school. Proud to have gone there and graduated from there. I had a really cool hoodie that I must have worn. I literally brought it over with me in 2004. Probably it was the largest size they sold back then, like 2X or 3X. And I wore it for all 5 years I was a Jet, and then finally I've outgrown it recently because I'm just so damn fat. Yeah, I need to get some more UCSD shirts and whatnot. Okay, I'm early, which is just blowing people's minds right now. Hiko Simon just can't even, fathom what it means to be early. So I'm going to move this over here. No, wait, I'm not seeing myself on YouTube yet. Oh, maybe I need to let's see, there I am. Okay. All right, so we're going to move this over so I can see real time my face and the fact that I've got light on my face and I don't look like a complete ogre. And comments from all you wonderful folk. Okay, so in the comment section tonight, I am typing as Jason's All Sumo channel because we are definitely going to be talking about sumo. And today was the last day of the basho. And the thing is if you're watching this, about 600-700 people watch this show after it's live. Only about 30 or 40 people join me for the live show. I'll try to update the number, say, in the middle of the live show. And that's great. I'm happy to have whoever wants to come along for the live show. I realize it's very early in the morning in America for a lot of people, etc. But anyway, so what you don't see, unfortunately, is YouTube doesn't keep all the comments and then append them to the bottom of, underneath the video. There's fresh comments. You can leave a fresh comment when you've watched the recorded version. But if 200 comments are left, just people back and forth, chatting with each other, chatting with me while the 1 hour show is going on, all those comments are just go away. But it still says, like in my analytics, when I look at that video, it says 207 comments, and I'm like, what, really? And then I realize 202 of those were left that night, and only 5 of those are new. So if you come along and I refer to something and you're really confused and you're watching the recorded version, it's probably because I'm reacting to something in the comments that you can't see anymore, unfortunately. All right. Let's get a little Matthew McConaughey going. Ahmed Usul. Hello. Should I say Assalamu alaikum? Is that how you say it? I can be ignorant, can't I? Can I be a little ignorant? The only things I know about Muslim culture, other than some study, I obviously did study a little bit in college. I took a class, for instance, in world religions. So you learn about Buddhism, you learn about Islam, you learn about Christianity a little bit, but that's the assumed one that you're supposed to already know, and so on and so forth. And really, what I've learned is just watching, TV, Homeland, these shows. So I fancy that I said that pretty close to right. Patrick Alvarez is in the house. I can't quite see what's under your little circle in your picture. It looks like to me, and I probably have to put my glasses on. REM? Is that an REM, Patrick, under your name, under your head? That would be cool if you're an REM fan. I'm a big REM fan. Yeah, Hiko won't be doing a live show. Let's get that out there. It's still a little early, but we can just go all night, man. Just keep going. 11 o'clock? Yeah, just keep going. But actually, I have to, I've got an iPad here full of sumo videos that I have not posted yet to my channel, and people are wondering So actually, I should ask, do you guys want me to spoil what happens today in Sumo? Because most of you haven't seen it yet, unless you're a big fan and you've already looked it up on the, on the website or something. But anyway, so in a few minutes, when I start talking about Sumo, we'll kind of take a straw vote here. But anyway, those videos will get posted, but I need to do that. It takes about 5 minutes per video, and then they have to percolate on YouTube for a few minutes before I'm actually able to post them. And I need to go to bed because I got to get up early tomorrow. I have an exam that I have to give first period, which starts at 8:55 a.m., ungodly early. And so unfortunately, even though I could go on for 2 hours tonight, I really can't. I really do probably still have to get off around 11, but we'll see how we're going. Yeah, and he's in China, so he's not watching this, actually. Andrea in Melbourne, hello. 11 p.m. here, and the final leg of the Tour de France will start soon. Oh, okay. Is there any Australian riders in the Tour de France? Are you a bicycle enthusiast? Why are you interested in the Tour de France? I've never really... I know a little bit about the Tour de France. Obviously, Lance Armstrong, made it kind of headlines in America, and then it turned out he wasn't such a, on top of it guy. But it just seems grueling and really difficult, and an amazing achievement for whatever person or team, wins that. Yeah. They show it a little bit here, actually. NHK show it like at midnight or something. They do show it. I don't know if there's Japanese riders in it or if they just show it because it's the Tour de France. I mean, it's the biggest bicycle thing ever. Okay. Hey, Patrick from Houston, Texas here. Glad to be here. It's my first live video. That's your new voice, Patrick. So kind of, play that in a loop over and over again so you can do it just like that. Been a fan of yours since applying to JET. Didn't get accepted. Domo-kun says. Oh, sorry about that. Try again. No, maybe you've moved on and you're doing other things, and that's cool. But yeah, cool. Thanks. I appreciate you coming in. Houston, Texas, probably what, about 8 a.m., 9 a.m. there? So howdy from Mississippi. James, how you doing? M-I, crooked letter, I, crooked letter, I, humpback, I. Some TV show like taught me to spell Mississippi that way, and I've remembered it ever since. Hello, everyone. Updates about Hiko. 2 p.m. where Ahmed is. We still don't know where that is, do we? Did you say, Ahmed, where you are? No, you didn't. All right. Hello is fine as well. Okay, well, hello. Yeah, I really want to watch The Americans. I keep going to iTunes and I'm ready to press the button, and it's a little expensive for that first season. It's like $31 or $34, and I'm like, I guess I could try to get the Blu-ray or something, but then there's shipping, and there's always just something else. It's like $21 or $24. I'm like, oh, I'll save some money and get this other thing, and but I do want to see The Americans because the first episode was free, either on iTunes or on a DVD that I rented with other TV shows, and I watched the first one. That was really good, and I was like, oh, I can't wait. And then my video store never got the series, so but yeah. Okay, well, if you don't watch Sumo, then you just don't care. We're going to talk a lot about Sumo, though, today, so I hope you stick around and stick with it. Ah, okay, Patrick, now we got it. The Omega symbol hybrid. All right, cool. All right, so you're just a cycling person, you just like watching it? Good morning from the Big Apple. It's New York City for you, those of you not in the know. Never been to New York. I think I've mentioned that before. I want to go. Need to go to New York. I need to go to Washington, D.C. As an American, I owe it to myself to do those two things. Ahmed's from Algeria, North Africa. I can point to Algeria on a map. That's about all I can do about Algeria. All right. People are talking about weather in my comment system, so I guess I'm really not being that entertaining. I'm kind of waiting. It's 10:01. Okay, now I feel like I can start the real show. All that other stuff was just prelude. All right, Sean is in the house. Lewis is in the house. So we got 10 people watching. James, I am super excited that Netflix is coming to Japan. If you hear anything about it, you know, a link or, you know, like it started to be sold or anything, please go onto my Facebook, you know, my Argonauts Facebook page or my Twitter or something and send me a link or send me information, because it might take a while to trickle out here to the Inaka. But hopefully from my other well-connected YouTube friends, you know, Mully and Victor and Hiko and everything, I'll hear about it when it does finally happen. But I am very interested to hear what their plan is and how they're going to roll it out, and et cetera, et cetera. I'm way down for that. Yeah, I've got my aircon on right now. You guys are talking about how hot it is in Algeria. It's pretty freaking hot here in good old Japan. But I can't have, it's weird. I have so few like plugs for my electric devices that I have a light on over here giving me more light on my face. And so I have to unplug my senpuki, my oscillating fan. So only my aircon on right now. But it'll do it. It'll do the job. I'll send you a link. Okay, cool. Thanks, man. Please do. So let's talk about Mr. Incredible here. Mr. Incredible from Pixar. So, you know, the Blu-rays in Japan share the same region, all that kind of coding with America. So I can buy this, watch it here, and take it back to America, and it will work. I've done it, you know. And it does. It works fine. And it's weird. Stuff that I buy on Amazon, you know, from America and have shipped here, when I pop it into my player and it senses that it's a Japanese system, all of a sudden, even though it doesn't list it anywhere on like the back, it will all of a sudden have Japanese subtitles, or the menus will be in Japanese. It's kind of funny. So I bought a lot of discs that I could lend to Japanese friends if they wanted to watch it with Japanese subtitles. But anyway, I'm kind of rebuying a few of my favorite Pixar movies recently, and this is definitely one I wanted. And they have this new thing in Japan called Movie Nex, N-E-X, and it's, you know, it's a Disney thing. And I thought, okay, well, I'll try one. And when you open it, it has the DVD, which I was going to give away, and the Blu-ray. And because I don't care about the DVD, and I can't take that back to America. That won't work in America. So I was going to give that to one of my Eikaiwa kids. And all the back is all in Nihongo. So I don't know exactly what it all says, because I can't read everything in Japanese. And but I thought, you know, it'll have all the extras. It's a Blu-ray. It has a lot of storage. And it's supposed to have a few new things. So cool. Pop it in, movie, sounds, looks great, no problem, watched it in English, you know, turned off the subtitles. You can obviously watch it dubbed in Japanese, etc., etc. Navigated through, you know, there's a secondary commentary by Brad Bird, the director. There's a few making of things, like the Jack Jack Attack short film, and a little round table where it's Brad talking to some of the key members of the production crew about their experience making the film over 10 years ago. And then I'm like, okay, well, where's like the making of the movie they would have put out on the DVD when it first came out like 10 years ago? And it's nowhere to be found. And so I go online and I look up like the original DVD double disc set. And there's all these kind of making of features, deleted scenes, everything that they didn't put on this. And so my rant here is, why put out a new package thing and make it all spiffy, and supposedly, you know, this is supposed to be the streamlined new thing to replace all the other versions, because you get a digital copy, a DVD, and a Blu-ray in here, and then cut off, like, extras, not include things that are already made. It's not like you had to go out and newly produce things, just slap them in there. And so it kind of pisses me off, because you know, so many of you are like, who buys Blu-rays anymore? You know, stream, dude. I am old. I still like to buy discs. And, you know, you can see behind me. And if I like extras. I like the behind-the-scenes crap. You know, that's a big reason I buy these things. So I don't think I'm going to buy any more of these Movie Next things, you know, unless it's a brand new movie, like Baymax, which was what, Big Hero 6 in the States, or Inside Out or something. But if it's an old movie, I'm going to definitely have a look and say, okay, well, maybe I should just buy the old Blu-ray because it'll have more extras than this fancy new one. So there's my little rant. Because this is not cheap. You know, it's like 4,000 yen, and then I think I got it on sale at Amazon.co.jp for like 3,200 yen. Which now with the with the exchange rate is what, about $28 maybe, $27. But that's a lot more than you probably pay for a Blu-ray nowadays in America. All right, let's see what we got going in the comments. There's a little rant to get us started. And everybody's talking about Netflix. Jan or Jan? Jan, you're from England. I'm assuming your name is Jan, not Jan. I just met a Jan from Finland. It's Jan, same spelling. Sean, bro, hey man, what's up? Gotta do my Jeff Spicoli. Okay. Have you seen Minions or the new film Inside Out yet? No, Andrea, because both of those films are animated films. And unfortunately, Japan has the mindset that animated films are for children. And children can't read subtitles. So they do not offer most animated films with any kind of, that are made in America, with any kind of subtitling option at the cinema. So yeah, Inside Out. Literally, a friend and I looked it up on a website. It's playing at one theater in Tokyo and one theater in Osaka with subtitles. Everywhere else in the entire country of Japan, it's just showing dubbed. So nowhere near around me. And Minions will be the same way. Minions hasn't even opened here yet. I think it opens on the 31st. Yeah, this coming up Friday. And it will be dubbed only. So I don't go see them dubbed, obviously. Which is unfortunate, because I do like to see, Pixar movies on the big screen. Sometimes I can go home to America and see them, they'll still be playing. But I'm not going home to America this summer, so yeah, it's a bummer. Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing, Ahmed. I do buy Blu-rays a lot of times for the extras and for the collectability and the flexibility of watching it anytime I want. And I know the fact that, a lot of those movies I'll watch one time when I buy it, and I won't watch again for 2, 3, 4 years. But, I really do go through my Blu-rays when I buy them. I watch, like, all the extras, and I listen to the commentary tracks, and so I do get into them. Okay, more comments. Yeah, bugs me. Okay. Yeah, I mean, you would think they would. They do some elaborate box sets. But this new Movie Next thing, now maybe there's something in the digital thing, if you download it, but I don't think so. I think there's a game. If you put the code in, there's some kind of Incredibles game. Now, see, that I don't care about. Like you can play on your smartphone. But I will ask a Japanese friend to read this back of this and tell me if I'm just not, if I'm missing something. All right, yeah. The Shubus is here. Is it Shubus? Shubus? That's kind of a cool name. I like that name. All right, next item, before we talk about Nagoya, one more thing I want to tell you about these. Okay, so Star Wars. Obviously, you guys know I'm a Star Wars fan. Now, unfortunately, they started with Episode 1, 2, and 3. And what it is, see, can you kind of see? I'm going to open it and show you anyway, but it's a snack. It's a little snack food. It's like a waffle cone with no sugar, with a little bit of like crispy, like Nestle chocolate in the middle. With some, there's something crunchy in the chocolate, and it's obviously this big. So, slightly smaller than maybe a 4-bar Kit Kat in America. And what they've done to get me to buy them is they're including little stickers. and they're kind of cool. They're like little dwarf uh, miniature versions of the characters. Like there's Amadalia, and they're all Japanese. I like things that are Star Wars related that have Japanese written on them instead of English, because it's kind of cool, right? And there are 24 of these. So here I got number 9, 14, and 19. And what I'm going to do, like, is every week I'm going to buy like 4 and take them to my Eikaiwa. And I have 3 students, and we're all going to open one and snack on it while we study English. And then I'll make the deal with them. I'll say, if I have it, you can keep the sticker. But if I don't have it, I get the sticker. And I'm going to take stickers away from 9-year-olds because I'm that kind of guy. Anyway, so I'm going to open one here live on camera, so we'll see. Dude Jericho, what's up, man? Love the pictures you posted on Flickr, Graphite42, thank you. Unfortunately, my predicament, my ailment, makes me a bit shaky at times. So my ability to hold the, right now I'm pretty tremor-free, but my ability to hold the camera and when the zoom, the lens is all the way zoomed out to like get the dohyo is bad. I need a tripod or something to steady, and I just didn't bring anything with me, and so I was trying to hold and zoom and take pictures, and they ended up, a bunch of them ended up blurry. I took like probably 70 and only kept about 40. Just trying to get guys in action, in poses and stuff. But a lot of the time I just didn't. I put down my camera. I was just trying to enjoy the basho. All right, here we go. So it comes out on a tray, and they're kind of messy here. Here's the snack. You kind of see the chocolate in the middle there, and then there's a little tray, and then on the tray is a sticker. Number 8. I don't have number 8 yet. Oh my God. Who could it be? Oh, great. Mace Windu. Nice, Sam Jackson. Kicking ass. So, that's pretty good. I've opened 4 so far, and I haven't gotten duplicate. And I will open more on Thursday when I go to my class. So, they're about 108 yen for each one of those. So, I'm basically paying $1 for a sticker. And I'm going to try to get all 24, because that's how crazy I am. All right. G'day, Huggas. I just like saying that. It's like I can't really do any other Australian. I would have to go to Australia and hear people or watch a really good Australian movie. What's that one movie in Australia I really like? The Dish? Is that what it's called? It's the one where like there's like an astronomy station in Australia that helps with like one of the Apollo missions. Maybe it's the moon landing. And it's got Sam Neill in it, I think. I think it was called The Dish. I really like that movie. There's a bunch of good Australian movies, but anyway. All right. Dun, 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 dun. I've got the song Athena by The Who stuck in my head all day. Now, you have to be a pretty diehard Who fan to know this song, but please go to Wikipedia or somewhere or iTunes and just listen to a little sample of it. It is the most catchy tune, and it's really late Who, like their last album with Kenny Jones after Keith Moon died in like 1982. And I mean, they made an album in like the 90s or something, but that doesn't count. But it's just incredibly bouncy and catchy. It's called Athena, and I've been singing it to myself all day. All right, Niso. Hello from Paris. Wait. Bonjour. See, I knew it. I'm pretty good with all these languages. Anyway. Oh, Tour de France, that's right. How did you get on with all the plastic Statue of Liberty collection? No, I did not get all 6, Sean. Thank you for rubbing it in, bastard. No. I got 4. They're sitting right over there. I got 4 of the 6. Yeah. I'm sure I could go on like Yahoo auctions, like if I spoke Japanese, I could navigate Japanese well and probably find the other 2 I need, but no, I never did get the other. And also they came out with these cool little Ninja Turtle ones. I don't know if I ever showed you guys those. And I got 3 of the 4 turtles, and I didn't get the 4th turtle. It really bummed me out. All right. Hello from Auckland. That's in New Zealand. See? Sharp as attack. Hope to make it to Japan one day. Antwi, please come. Please come. We could use more Kiwis. You know, Hiko's all big and mighty, thinking he's the king Kiwi, but a few more come over. A castle. That sounds familiar too. I'd have to look that one up on IMDb though to see what that's going on. What country would you most like to visit next? James asks. I was kind of having a dream that I might have some extra money this summer. I'm not going home to America, but I thought I might have an extra $400 or $500, which is not enough to get home to America, but maybe enough to go somewhere local. And I was thinking about going to Guam. I really like to go to Guam. I think I want to go somewhere where I can just relax and literally, not worry too much. I think Guam, I want to be kind of stupid here for a minute, and I want to say I think Guam, the native language might not be English, but I think the language of Guam is English because they're a protectorate of America or something like that. And I have actually a jet friend who's from Guam, Jennifer, and she lives obviously in Guam now. She went back to Guam after coming to Japan. Not that she would stop what she was doing and show me around, but I'm sure she would meet me for dinner one night or something, or take me on a tour one day of however many days I decide to go work. But just a nice hotel right by the beach. You can just relax and read a nice book and just kind of disconnect for 4 or 5 days. I'd really like to do that. Especially, well, I know it would be hot in Guam, but it would be a different kind of hot. And if you're right by the ocean, you can just go swimming. It would be so awesome. That's kind of my California, growing up in California, roots showing. I just used to love going to the beach in the summertime. Okay, so let's talk about Nagoya. Let's get down to it. It's 10:18. Cheers. I hope you're doing well. This is not wine or anything. This is vitamin water. I don't know if this is one. Triple something. I don't know, 3 different berries all mixed together is what it's trying to tell me. It's kind of got a fruit punchy feel, and it's pretty good. At least it's not Coke, right? So, I want to tell you about my new app. Before we get to Nagoya, one more thing. Let me tell you about my new app. The Pool Room. My new app is called Prune. Have you guys heard of this game yet? And so what you're trying to do is let me show you one of the easier levels. I don't even know how. Okay. Go back. Can you kind of hear the music? The music is really soothing and very zen. But there's no Japanese in it. It's nothing like that. Oh yeah, I'll just go to the first level from level 2. Go. I think it'll let me do a level over. I would hope so. Anyway, I'll talk kind of what. Oh shoot, there's gonna be the glare from. Oh, there. That's kind of good. So this thing comes down, and you can't let your tea touch that. Of course, it looks like the Hinomaru, the map of Japan, and you can see kind of at the bottom of the screen there's a white area. That's where your tree can grow from. So let me show you how it goes. And then your tree's going to start to grow, and you have to prune it. You have to cut off branches, and then as it blossoms, it has to blossom so many times, and then you win the level. Okay, so that's all I'm going to show you. I'm not going to go on and on, but awesome game. I just love it. It's a puzzle game, but it's it's got nice music and cool graphics, and anyway. But it was $4. It was $3.99, so it's not free or cheap. But if you have an iPad, I mean, you can play it on your phone, but if you have an iPad, it's totally worth it. All right. People rent in Japan versus buy for their place of residence. Patrick wants to know. Are you talking about ALTs and English teachers? Because we're only going to be here a few years. Are you talking about just overall? Why does Hiko rent as opposed to own? I don't know. Could be property tax. I mean, there could be multiple reasons. Yes, Alan, the manual. I am still uploading today's matches, so I'm probably not going to talk about who wins today because I haven't uploaded today's matches, and unless you've gone, I don't want to spoil it for anyone. So I'll talk about the bus show up to day 14, but I'm not going to talk about today. But I'm going to upload after this finishes, and then it's going to take another half an hour or so for them to percolate and process, and so it's probably going to be 2.5 hours from now before they're up on my site. So I apologize for that, but I had a lot to do today, and they're going to get up there though. I'll do them before I go to bed. I promise. I won't do them tomorrow morning. It's 29 degrees due Jericho in my apartment right now. So, yeah. I need to actually clean the filters of my aircon because I don't think it's working quite as well as it was. Yeah, but Melbourne, it's winter in Australia. That doesn't count, Andrea. You get a strike for that. I'm sorry. That's strike one. I don't know what happens if you get 3 strikes. You're not out. But, that's a baseball term. Maybe I should put it in cricket terms. I think if I know any cricket terms. Hit the wicket. Dodge the bails? I don't know. I used to know some cricket terms. I have no clue. Anyway. Okay. I don't even bother with those games. So good. And it's a game I can play with my Eikaiwa kids because there's no language involved. It's just fun and easy, but I can still kind of give them instructions in English. And, there's still some English interaction. Yeah, it's just something fun and new that they haven't played before. Because, my kids, they don't have iPads and stuff. I think I've met one college student who's had an iPad at my university. Tablets have just not taken off here. I think they're just seen as a total luxury item. All right. Electric blanket on, jeez Louise. Well, I mean, if it were winter here, I would totally be the same way. All right, let's talk about Nagoya. So Nagoya, I had to drive to the airport, which is about 2.5 hours away. So I left Saturday morning and I drove, and I knew it was going to be hot, so I was wearing shorts. And I got to it's a holiday weekend too. Let's make that clear. Monday was a national holiday. This past Monday was a national holiday in Japan. So I knew the airport would be busy, people flying places just to go for the 3-day weekend. And they have an overflow lot, and it's free at Izumo Airport. I drove to Izumo in Shimane-ken, where I used to live, and so I knew where I was going. And this Fuji Dream Airlines is a new airline in Japan, and they do domestic flights only, and they're trying to, get some routes. And so they fly one time a day from Izumo to Nagoya, and then from Nagoya to Izumo, or vice versa. I don't know which one. Anyway. And so I had to walk a decent amount from the parking lot to the airport, but we had just had a tsunami come through. And remember, I don't know if you were on my page or on my Twitter, I was worried like it was going to cancel my flight. Didn't have any effect, but it had the effect of cooling everything off a little bit and creating a breeze. So I was really comfortable. I was happy because I thought I'd be a sweaty mess. I only took a small bag, and like a shoulder bag with my camera and my iPad and stuff in it. But anyway, so got to the airport, plenty of time, like an hour before my flight. It's the plane only holds like 40, 50 people, so it wasn't like it was going to be a huge deal. Checked in, let them check my bag, no big deal because it's such a small thing, and the airports on both ends are small, and got lucky. For a big fat guy like me, I'll let you take a guess. What is the best thing that can happen to you on a flight? I'll give you 5 seconds. Obviously, I can't see your comments because you guys are lagging a little bit behind, but I'll give you 5 seconds to think before I say the answer. What do you think is the absolute best thing that can happen to me as they're closing the doors and the plane is taxiing backward. Okay, I'm going to tell you. Nobody's sitting next to me. Okay, so obviously most planes you go on, you know, if it's 2 seats and 2 seats or whatever it is, you know, you can pull the the divider, the armrest, English, armrest up, and you know, you can kind of spread out. And, you know, I need it. Put my legs sort of over into the other space, and you know, put that tray table down, not the one in front of me. You know, if I want to get a drink or, it's like a 50-minute flight, so it's no big deal. Aisle seat, yes. Aisle seat is good, which is what I always reserve. But if you have somebody kind of, you know, sitting next to you, it can still be a little uncomfortable. But anyway, so I had nobody sitting next to me. Yay! My trip was getting off on a good note. I wasn't that sweaty when I walked to the airport, and nobody sitting next to me. Got to the Nagoya airport, tiny little airport. Actually, Nagoya has 2, and this is the one Fuji Dream flies into. It's about half an hour outside of Nagoya Central, but there's a nice little bus, 700 yen, which is about $6. You jump on the bus. It comes about every 20 minutes, and it drops you off right near Nagoya Station, which is the huge JR station right in the middle of Nagoya. Did that, no problem. Dropped off, looked around, looked up. Hey, it's TGI Fridays. So knew, because that's where I was meeting Mully that night. It was Saturday, and Mully had said, we want to go, his wife and I, to TGI Fridays, an American restaurant, and they have one in Nagoya. They have a bunch of them in Tokyo. They have like one in Osaka and one in Nagoya. I had actually been to the one in Tokyo, or a one in Tokyo, many, many, many years ago when I was still a jet, but I'd never been to one since, and I haven't been, you know, to any of that kind of food in about a year since I've been in America. We just don't get knife and fork food here in the Inaka very much. Anyway, so I'm like, cool, I know where I'm going later tonight. Like, I can tell the taxi driver, you know, where I'm going. So I jump in a cab, and I've got the kanji all written out for my hotel, and I say, okay, I need to go to this hotel, please. And he's like, oh, okay, no problem. And he clicks the button, and we go, and it's about $6 for a taxi, for 600 yen, and he drops me off. Go into my hotel room. Now, here's something about Japanese hotels. They have an aircon unit in the hotel room that you can control. You can turn on and off, and you can turn the temperature up and down. But there's no central air in the hotel, so the hallway and the elevator are generally not air-conditioned, and your hotel room is not air-conditioned except when you're in it. So when you enter the hotel room, and I got there at about 6 p.m., just after SUMO ended, you know, say the person had checked out at 10 a.m., then there had been no air conditioning on in that room for 7 hours. So it was hot. It was really freaking hot. And it smelled faintly of smoke. And at first I thought, you know, is it a no-smoking room because I say it is? Like, do you want no smoking? Okay. Well, don't smoke while you're in there then, you know. Or is it a no-smoking room because nobody's allowed to smoke in there ever? Well, I don't know, you know, but maybe that was just me, or maybe that was just, you know, hotel smell, I don't know. So I got in there, and it was just hot, and I was a little hot. But I had to meet Mully and his wife at 7. So I was just like, okay, well, I'm just going to lie down here, turn the air on to 20 degrees C, and just let, you know, there's like 3 wind speeds up to the maximum, and just sort of sit here, and hopefully it'll get cool. And it does, it got cooler. But unfortunately, the room was equipped so you had to put your key into this little slot to turn on the lights and activate the room. So I turned on the fridge, because the refrigerator is always turned off in the Japanese hotel room, because I had bought a few things at the conveni. And I plugged in like my phone, and I realized that when I took the key out, the sockets, like the electricity goes off. Not the fridge, thank goodness, but the aircon would turn off, all the lights would go out, and if you were charging your phone and you left your room and you wanted it to charge while you were gone, let's say, it wouldn't, because the electricity turns off. Anyway, so it was a weird sort of setup, and the bathroom was kind of strange. It was like up a step, and you know, for me and Molly joke about these things because we're so big, and some of these things are so small. Like, they pack so many things onto the toilet seat nowadays, especially in hotel rooms, like the bidet and the water thing and the, this and the that the hole that's, the opening that you can sit and, like, put your stuff in and drop through, as it were, without getting too gross, is small, It's like, Jesus Christ, seriously? So, and they give you just the one towel, so if you want to take a shower, like, I wanted to take a shower when I got home from SUMO before I went out for dinner on Sunday night, and so then you have to ask for another one. And sometimes they're a pain in the ass about it, but this place was really cool about it. I would definitely go back to this place. It was called the Biz Hotel, B''S, and it was about 6,500 yen for each night I was there, and I was there 2 nights. So it was about a man sansen, I think, for 2 nights, and you pay cash up front, and so all you do when you check out is just hand them your key. But a lot of Japanese hotels, too, when you leave, you have to leave your key. You're supposed to leave your key at the front desk, and there's supposed to be somebody there, obviously 24/7, but that's a little strange. But anyway, so it was hot. But we went to TGI Fridays. I met up with a guy who's a fan of my channel, and he emailed me and said, hey, I'm also going to be in Nagoya. I'm this dude from Finland. Can I meet you for dinner? I said, well, I'm meeting Mully and stuff. Let me check with him. And Mully was like, yeah, it's fine. So it turned out it was a small group. Victor was out of town. Victor, give me a break, man. And so it was me and Mully and his wife and Tomoko des, if you know her from Victor's videos, and Jan, the guy from Finland, and me. So it was 5 people. And it was really hot. And we were waiting outside, and they wanted to put us in a booth. Well, first of all, I barely fit in booths, usually, unless you can move the table. But the table was fixed, and Mully's even bigger than me. And so we, and his wife knew immediately when they walked us up there and they were going to try to put us in this booth. She's like, no, we need a table. And they're like, oh, well, we don't have any, she's like, well, we'll wait because we can't sit here. So we had to go back outside where it's 90 gazillion degrees, and we waited about another 10 minutes, and then they found they figured it out and rerouted people, and they got us a table. They pushed 2 together, and we were able to sit there. I enjoyed what I got. Unfortunately, Mully and his wife didn't enjoy their main courses very much. We got some appetizers, like fried macaroni and cheese things, and some of it was really strange, but we were just trying a bunch of different stuff, and we got really good desserts. But they went, instead of going for like a burger or a steak, which they should have gone for, they went for like some strange pulled pork tacos or something, and it was just not good. And hey, Fred, what's up? Yeah, mine were fine. I also went for some tacos, but mine were chicken with like a pico de gallo sauce. Because I knew that I was going to have dinner by myself the next night, and I was going to go to the Outback Steakhouse. So I knew that I could wait and get my steak the next night, and I could have something kind of more interesting or whatever. But, so they were disappointed. But the conversation was great. I mean, it was loud in there and everything. We had a really ganky waitress. Mully was giving her all kinds of business, and he put up some video over on his channel. So it was really fun. I had never actually met them in person. He's been on my channel. We've been on each other's live shows and yada yada and everything. But I never met him, and his wife is wonderful. I've never met Tomoko from or Tomoko. I don't know why I keep saying that wrong. From Victor's videos. She wasn't around the other time I went to Nagoya a couple years ago. But anyway. So that was a great night, and they ended up driving. They drove from where they live in Shizuoka to Nagoya. It takes them about 2 hours or so, and so they drove me back up to my hotel, and we chatted for a little while. And it wasn't even that expensive. We all split the bill, and I think it was about 5,000 yen each, considering how much food we got. And everybody was drinking alcohol, but me, I was drinking Pepsi, and. So anyway, well, actually, no. Mully or Mully's wife didn't drink either. I don't think Mully drank because one of them had to drive. You can't drink if you're going to get behind the wheel in Japan. It's just zero tolerance. Um, Genki? Mr. Cordy Step? Are you trying to say Genki? I'm losing Fukushima Jackson. I'm losing comments over here. Robert from Canada is in no Olive Garden. No, they have tons of Italian food. Italian food is not hard, dude. Hey, it's Crawford who sent me the polo mints. Awesome. I'm still going through one of those rolls, but I keep some right by like where I stash my wallet, and every now and then I'll come home for lunch, and right before I go back out the door, I'll pop a polo mint. So I love those. Um, yeah, I would actually move to Nagoya in a heartbeat. It was really a lot of fun. It's just it's such culture shock for me, guys. You don't even understand. I put up some pictures. If you go over to my Flickr, let me see. I think it's flickr.com/Jason in Japan. Oh, no, it's not gonna let me do that because it's a web address. But anyway, if you go, yeah. Anyway, you can find it. There's links to it all over the place. I put up some shots of like me taking off from Izumo and taking some pictures out the window, and then me landing in Nagoya. And the difference is so drastic. There's just so many people in Nagoya and high-rise buildings, and I mean, just so many more people, than probably live in all of Shimane. I'm sure Nagoya probably has 800,000, a million people, and that's more than live in the entire prefecture I live in. And my town has like 55,000 people. I mean, it's really small, and there's it's crazy to me when I get there. I'm just like blown away, and there would just be so much to do all the time. I mean, I can understand in a way like how Victor makes so many videos. Yes, James, you can get Mexican food, but not made by Mexicans, if that makes sense. And you have to be kind of careful sometimes, because sometimes you'll be directed towards Spanish food when you really want Mexican food, and they're very different, aren't they? But anyway, so I'm in Nagoya Saturday night. I flew in, saw Molly and everybody, go back to my hotel, kind of crash out. Don't have to get up super early Sunday. The basho kind of goes all day, but the main action doesn't start till 4. I knew I wanted to get there about 2:30, so I'm gonna sleep in. I'm not even gonna go to the free breakfast that like ends at 10:30. I'm gonna sleep in. I bought some stuff at the conveni, just sort of like a pastry and a milk tea and stuff just to have in my room. And of course, around 11 is checkout time, so all the women come and start tearing down the rooms and doing all the cleaning. And I had put the little sign out that said "Do not disturb." And to be fair, they never disturbed. They never knocked. They never bothered me. But you could tell like they were like getting antsy, like, "Is he gonna stay in his room all day? What's going?" Because Japanese. I've actually been in a Japanese hotel where they require you to leave your room from like 11 to 3. They don't even want you in the hotel. Like even if you were like sick or whatever, and you're like, "No, I'm just not gonna leave. I'm not gonna go sightseeing today. I'm just gonna stay in my room." They would be like, "No, sorry, you gotta leave." But anyway, this hotel was not like that. So I stuck around the hotel, and I didn't really want to do much else sightseeing. I just wanted to go to Sumo and enjoy Sumo. And so I went and I shot a bunch of footage that I'm gonna make into a video, and I had a guy from a university, probably about 21, 22 years old, come up and go, "Oh, we're conducting a survey, and we're talking to Gaikokujin who come to the Sumo, and we're asking them why they came." He didn't quite know that he was going to get me, like to answer, and I'm like, "Well," and I start going off, and he's saying things about the basho, and I'm like, "Well, don't you mean," and like correcting his knowledge about Sumo and stuff. Huggers, come on, man. I'm missing some good stuff in the comments. I apologize. Anyway, so I decided to go in, and they have this kind of procession where the wrestlers will come up and get out of their big vehicles and walk up in their kind of kimono-looking attire, and then enter the arena, and it's kind of roped off. And people are very polite in Japan. They're not generally going to jump that and touch you or try to get an autograph. It's just not the appropriate time. But they cheer and yell and take pictures and stuff. And the guys, of course, love it. You know, it's all an ego boost. And, you know, with their little skibito, you know, their little attendants and stuff coming behind them. And so I waited out there, and I saw 3 or 4. I saw Terano Fuji would come in. But I was like, I'm not going to stand out here. It's really hot. You know, I just want, you know, I want to go inside. I want to shop for some souvenirs and stuff like that. So I went inside, and I found my seat. Now, my seat was a single seat. So most of you probably haven't gone to SUMO before. But the majority of the seats are boxes. And in the boxes, there's 4 cushions. And the cushions are kind of like this. I don't know if you're going to be able to really see that. That's about how big a cushion is, a zabuton. And I use this underneath my kotatsu because I have wood floors here in this room. I'm not on tatami or a carpet. And so you get basically a cushion. And there's 4 of them in a box. And the box is made for Japanese people. It's certainly not made for me. And I knew it was going to be crowded. I knew it was going to be sold out. And I tried to get a 2-person box, and I was going to actually pay, you know, the price, the $200, you know, normally it's about $100 each. And I was going to pay $200 for just me, just to have all the room I wanted. But literally, like, you couldn't get any of those boxes. It was sold out so fast on the weekends, and then the weekdays soon after. The guy that was buying my ticket, so he got me this seat. And it was about 8,000 yen seat, but it's a single. And he told me it's kind of up like, you know, how there's a square around the dohyo is a circle, and then it's in a square, and then there, you know, there's a east, west, north, and south side of the arena. And he says it's kind of where the 2 corners come together, and there's like these like triangle sections where, you know, they kind of wedge in these extra seats here and there, and, you know, they're for, you know, 2, you could buy one side by side with a friend, but they're basically sold singles. And they're closer and stuff than the seats that are like, you know, a seat you might sit in a movie theater or a concert that are up kind of above in the loge, and they're about 4,000 yen. Anyway, so I found my area. It was right near a big stairwell on the kind of 2nd floor, if you will. And there was, you know, some people kind of in the back, and then there was me in the front where there's a big metal bar, and then there's a drop-off, and kind of it goes down, and there's another section of seats, and then it goes down. You know, it's tiered like that. And luckily, I was kind of on an aisle, literally, where there's like, you know, like a foot of room between my cushion and then like where people would walk, and then the cushion next to me. And I realized later that it was for the people that were seated below me. They were sort of wedged in such a way in this triangular section that the only way they could get out of their area was to climb up into my area and then walk out and down into the arena. And I kind of put my stuff there, thinking, well, who's gonna walk there? So I kind of put my shoes there and my camera bag, and then they were like walking and trying. And then I really didn't dawn on me until almost the end of the day that really that space is for them. But it helped me like not have to put anything in my square with my thing other than my body. And there was a Japanese guy sitting next to me, and he was getting increasingly drunk as the day goes on. So he started off with beers, and the guys come around and sell beer, you know, Asahi and Kirin and, you know, whatever's going in the can, you know, cold cans of beer. And then about midway through the Makuuchi bouts, he brought a thing of cold sake, rice wine, with like a shot glass comes with it. And he was offering it to me, and I'm like, no, I'm fine with my cola. Thank you, though. And he was a nice enough guy. I mean, we were chatting. He tried to speak a little bit of English, but we were mostly chatting in Japanese and talking about wrestlers we like and stuff like that. And next to him was this guy from France who spoke almost no Japanese and very little English, and he was by himself, and he knew nothing about sumo, like literally nothing. I don't know why he came, other than, you know, it's a famous thing to do in Japan, but he literally knew nothing about sumo. So every time the Japanese guy would get up to go piss or, you know, like go buy another beer or whatever, he would turn to me and we would start talking. It was a shame we didn't sit next to each other, because he was obviously, uh, very interested in like what was going on and why these things and why the people throw the salt and what's this and why does this record mean this and why are you cheering for this guy and blah blah blah. So anyway, so there's the guy next to me. Then the woman behind me is, I would assume she was American from her accent when she did speak English. She was speaking Japanese most of the time, and I could understand her Japanese, most of the time. And she was saying things like, people would come up and be like, wow, you really speak Japanese well. And she's like, well, I've lived here for 20 years. And she looked like she was probably older than me, like maybe in her 50s. But boy, this woman she was just belting out the names of the wrestlers. Every single torikumi, every single bout, she'd pick one and she would just yell for this guy, Tochiozan, Gambate! And literally top of her lungs. And she had all these flags, literally like, full-size flag you would fly from the flagpole of like Mongolia, Bulgaria, every country, that's not Japan. So like every time a foreign-born wrestler would come up, she'd go, oh, I gotta find the flag. Where's the flag for this? Okay, here's the flag for China, for Sokokurai, or here's the Mongolian one, obviously a bunch of times. And she'd start yelling things in like Mongolian. And somebody asked her, and I was listening like out of half of my ear, like, why are you yelling this? And she's like, oh, that means Gambate in Mongolian, and I'd be like, really? And so she was so loud, and you're gonna hear her in the videos that I made. And then if she didn't like someone, she didn't like Osuna Arashi for some reason. And she would just yell bad things at him. And the Japanese people around here were kind of like, the people on my left were older, and you could tell they were like sort of like amused by her at first, and then it kept going, and they're like, really, lady, can you just, let us enjoy some sumo? And she just didn't give up, and then she was kind of flirting with the guys that were like selling ice cream and selling soda as they would walk around, and she would chat with them. She was by herself. And when something like that happens and it's right next to you, it just is so distracting, and there's nothing you can do about it, She wasn't necessarily being, she wasn't drunk or anything. She was just really enthusiastic and just really loud. And it was just funny because I'm sitting in front of her being like, we're not together, we're not together. I'm not the gaijin that's making all this noise, and it's just like, man, but hey, she's a big sumo fan or whatever. And then the thing that was funny about her is like the thing ended, and so I got up one time and to go around and look for souvenirs or go to the bathroom, and she's like, oh, you can just leave your, I brought my slippers. She's like, you can just leave them under here. I'm like, oh, okay, thanks. So she sounded like nice. And then at the end, I was trying to talk to her, and she just had no interest in talking to me. Like, I don't want to speak English. I don't want to be talking to a gaijin. I want to only talk to Japanese people. And she was taking selfies with the Japanese guys next to her. And so she's one of those type of things. And it was just off-putting. It was not exactly prime. And then to top it all off, the guy sitting next to me, the Japanese guy, like I said, getting increasingly drunk. So by about the fourth to last match, he was pretty blitzed. And what he did is we were, like I said, we were kind of on a tier, and there was a bar, and then there was the next section down and the next section down. And I was right by some people whose heads were like just like below my chin. Like I was just looking over their heads. If you go look at my pictures, you'll kind of see what it is. And so like if I stuck my foot out, because I was sitting Indian style, like lotus style, if I stuck my foot out a little bit, like, under the bar but over into their area, like, and they leaned back, it would touch their back. Well, they were even lower down, and he was only one space over. And so if he stuck his foot out, it was kind of like over the people's heads, like hovering. So it was a man and probably his wife or his girlfriend. They were probably in their late 30s or early 40s. And he started to do that. He started to stretch his legs out and put them over the bar and just have them dangling there above this guy's head. And the guy, you know, I don't know if he could smell his feet or if he just looked up one time in the periphery, he caught the feet. He's like, dude, you know, that's not really cool, man. Can you put, you know, this is your space, this is my space, can you? And the guy next to me, you know, was like, no, you know, like, this is free space, you know, you don't own this space. I don't know why I'm talking like that for this guy. He's Japanese, but yeah, you know, so he was all, you know, being drunk, you know. Normally a Japanese person would be like, oh, sumimasen, you know, and he could have just ended it right there. So then he's like, fuck, you know, those guys or whatever, and he's mumbling under his breath, and he turns around, and he's losing his complete control, and he tips his can of beer over, and all the beer cascades over and runs down the wall behind these people. And so the woman starts to freak out because, you know, all this beer is running down into their area and is going to get on their stuff. So she's like, hey, 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 you know, and he's not responding because, you know, they can't say his name. They don't know his name. And so I see her out of the corner of my eye. I'm trying to, you know, watch the match. See her out of the corner of my eye. I'm like, hey, dude, hey, dude, hey, dude, hey, dude, hey, dude, you know. You're spilling your beer. You're spilling your beer. You know, I'm trying to say all this in Japanese and have him pay attention. So finally he turns around. Now normally what would you do? You would apologize. Oh my God, I'm so sorry and everything. But he's like, oh, no worries, you know, shogunai. You know, he's just totally being an asshole about it. And I'm about to say, hey man, look, there's only like 3 bouts left. You know, this is my one day of live sumo in a long time. Can you just, you know, not be an asshat for 3 more matches? So, but I didn't because, you know, I don't do those kinds of things generally. So he starts to dangle his feet and whatever, and then the guy really, you know, the guy stands up and is kind of looking him eye to eye. You know, our guy is sitting down and the other guy standing up, and he's like, dude, you know, just, you know, put your feet back in your thing. Don't dangle them over our, you know, we're trying to watch. And so, you know, they should have security or something. The guy's obviously drunk. The woman runs off. The guy stays there, scooches over a bit, and the guy is like, you know, the guy sitting next to me is like calling on the phone, like to a friend, like to ignore this guy, like right in front of him, but not moving his feet. Dude, hey, yeah, is it okay if I have my feet over the bar? I'm at sumo. Yeah, I've got my feet over the bar. Is that cool? You know, he's saying all this in Japanese, and just being a dick. It really he was. And anyway, so they bring over an usher. An usher comes over and offers to reseat them. And literally, it's the Musubi no Ichiban is next. Like, I don't forget who was in the Musubi no Ichiban that day. It was either Haku or Kakeru. But literally, there's one more match to go, and they kind of look at each other and go, no, fuck it. You know, we're not going to walk over with you to some other seat for one match. You know, they have all this stuff on the little table in front of them. They haven't packed up. You know, and bother other people trying to get into this seat. So, so the usher kind of looks at the other guy and goes, okay, now, you know, this is their area and that's your area. And he's like, yo, okay. And of course, as soon as he leaves, he puts his feet back. And so then the usher must have seen him do it or kind of keeping his eye on him. So then, as the final match of the day finishes, 2 Nagoya policemen, not like arena security guards, but Nagoya policemen, you know, real police come up to, you know, walk in and walk over and start talking to the couple, and then they're looking at him, and he's like, oh man, I didn't have anything, no, you know, I'm leaving, blah blah blah, and they're like, no, you gotta stay here, man, I gotta talk to you after I talk to them, and he's like, no, I'm cool, man, and then, luckily there was another guy like over here, if he had tried to bolt or whatever, he wasn't really gonna go anywhere any fast anyway, he was drunk. But anyway, so I was kind of like, you know, trying not to have that bother me out of the corner of my eye, somewhat interested in what was going to develop, but at the same time trying to enjoy my sumo. But between him and the lady behind me, it was just like, oh man, really? So it was just unfortunate, you know, a slightly different, you know, draw of the ticket numbers or whatever, and I would have sat next to that French guy, and I'm sure we would have just hit it off and just had just some fun chats all day long, and you know, the woman behind us would have still been making all kinds of noise. But anyway, I did have a wonderful time, and then that night, like I said, I went back. I was so sweaty, and so I took a shower, and then I went out to Outback Steakhouse, and I was by myself this time. So they're like, well, it'll be a half an hour wait, you know, outside in the heat, or we can maybe sit you at the bar. So I said, okay, well, yeah, see if you can sit me at the bar. And they did after about 7 or 8 minute wait. So it was, you know, really good. But I forgot that, you know, it's Japan, so at the bar you can smoke. So right next to me is a couple, and, you know, they're just finishing their meal, and, you know, smoking away. And I'm just like, oh, please leave soon before my steak arrives. But the waitress, not the waitress, the two bartenders, one was a guy and one was a girl, were so nice, and we were just chatting all night. And I was telling them how I live in Shimane and I teach at a university, and did they need to know English to get this job, and they were really happy to talk to me, and you know, and stuff. And so that was really fun. You don't normally tip in Japan, but I left them each $5 because they were just so nice to me. And I had a great meal, big old steak and a baked potato. I mean, just food that I never get when I'm here. And it was really delicious. And maybe it was just because I'd been looking forward to it so much, but it really was good. It was expensive. I think it was 4,000 yen for my steak, but that included a bunch of stuff. That included the 2 sides and a small salad to start, and I only got Pepsi. I think I got out of there for about 5,500 yen, which is not terrible. Anyway, Jason, do you have Nantuka? I can't read that kanji. B-boy tripping. Tell me what it is. I'm sorry, guys. I've been telling my story and not really looking at the comments. But anyway, so if you have a question, leave it now, and I will look at comments. How about that? But anyway, so that was Sunday, and then Monday all I had to do was get up, check out of the hotel, and get back to the airport, and I flew home. And the only bad part about Monday was, and it is my own fault in a way, but I got to the airport, and I checked in about an hour early, so I was probably one of the first people to check in. And she's like, oh, we have an empty 2 seats in the very back of the plane, the last part of the plane. And I thought she was trying to tell me that it's like a bench seat, like 5 seats across the back, because there's no, you can't recline. Like, you can't recline. I'm like, that's fine. And she's like, okay, well, I'm going to give you number 21. That's the last, you know, row in the plane. And I'm like, okay, because I wasn't like seat number 9, but I had someone next to me, and she obviously could tell I was a big guy just from standing there. Well, she put me on the window, and it didn't really occur to me, but obviously at the time there was a guy on the other window, and there was nobody in the middle. Well, somebody must have come up in the last few minutes, you know, like the last 30 minutes before the plane took off, and bought a ticket, like literally right then. And those were the seats they got. And I found out that it was this mom and this, you know, I'm walking back to the last row, and there's a woman about to sit next to my window seat. And I'm like, I'm supposed to have 2 seats, basically. This seat's supposed to be empty. She goes, oh, well, that's my daughter. And I said, oh, we'll just go sit in the window next to her. And then, of course, a big, tall businessman comes down the aisle and is like, that's my seat. And she's like, oh. And I should have made the woman get up and sit next to me because she was skinny, you know, a woman, you know, a petite woman. But you know, the guy was like, "Oh, you just stay there. I'll sit next to this guy." Well, of course, you know, I was totally uncomfortable and smooshed up against the window of the plane, and I was just mad because I should have insisted that I stay on the aisle, or at least, you know, I can hang my arm over and blah blah blah. So that wasn't that good. And what was the other weird thing that happened Monday? There was one other weird thing. Oh, the breakfast, the continental breakfast was lousy at the hotel. I mean, it was free, but all it was like a couple croissants, a pastry, like some yogurt in a dish, if you wanted it, some kind of weird soup. There was no rice. There was no miso soup. There was no jam to put on anything. I think there was coffee. I had orange juice. I mean, it was just really bad. But anyway. Yeah, it was free, so I guess what are you going to do, right? No, there was something else that happened on Monday. Oh, I want to tell you guys about it. I can't. That's how it goes. All right, well, we're here at 11:01, but let me look. Body odor. Okay, good. So what is he asking me? Do I have body odor? Is that what he asked me? Oh, here we go. Jason, do you have body odor? He's asking me. I don't think I do, to be honest. I had a girlfriend, believe it or not, for many, many, many years, and when I was in my 20s and early 30s, and I always used to ask her, I'd be like, Heather, do I smell? She's like, no, actually, you don't. And I would say I wasn't as heavy back then, but I've actually been frank with friends before, and I'd be like, just tell me honestly, you know, like a guy at work that I became really good friends with when I was working at the diabetes company in San Diego. I'm like, I'm a big guy, I kind of worry about this. There's no way you can really tell. You have to sit next to me at conferences and meetings and stuff. Do I smell? And he's like, no, actually you don't. So I really don't think I do. I mean, I'm very hygienic. I know some fat people come off not like that, but I'm, very. I don't skip showers or whatever. So no, I think I'm pretty good. All right. Now, when I'm really sweaty, just like anyone, probably yeah, a little bit. But I don't think I've been middle-aged man since. I really don't think. Yeah, Sean, but we're not worrying about Hiko tonight. We're not worrying about Hiko. He's not doing his show, so I can go over a few minutes. But I really do have to get off because I have to upload all the sumo and get to bed at a reasonable hour, etc., etc. So yeah, okay, B-boy trip in the sand. Okay, let me make sure I'm caught up on everything. Get the sumo up. You'll be excited. It's a good finish. There's some good outcomes. I was very emotional at one point. It killed Tenho. So, whoa, you had a girlfriend? Yeah, I did, man. It was cool. I enjoyed it. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, dun, dun. I think I've got everything. I'm not exactly sure, Mr. Nowhere Man, what your comment means. that should be the scent I sell, Sean Bro. Sumo by Myargonauts. I don't think you want sumo smell. Got the sushi in, ready to watch the sumo. Everybody's getting on me. Sumo pressure, man. It's coming. I'm going to upload it now, but then it's got to percolate a little bit on YouTube, so it's probably going to be 90 minutes. But you'll start to see them. Just watch the Twitter feed if that's how you look, or refresh the page about every 15 minutes. I do. I actually have a final exam, a speaking test I have to give tomorrow at 8:55, so I do need to get some sleep tonight. Be fresh as a daisy tomorrow. Lee sees you. Well, thank you for coming and watching the end of our live show. I'm glad we could see you. All right, everybody's asking me to go. Do the guy that sat next to you's voice again. But I wasn't doing it. See, I don't want to do Japanese accents because that could potentially be insulting or something. So I always just do accents out of my brain. So he became this dude. Yeah. I don't know why. Can I put my feet over the edge? Is that okay? Yeah, this guy is tripping. I don't know. My British accent is up for debate. I get it's good, I get it's bad. Most people say it's pretty good. All right, well, enough about that. We can have fun with that next week. Thank you so much for listening to my long-winded tale of Nagoya travels. All I can say, guys, is if you get to come to Japan and you're in an odd-numbered month, try to go see sumo. Now, if you're in Tokyo, there's only 3 of those odd-numbered months that count. The other 3 times it's in Osaka, Nagoya, or Fukuoka. And I really might try to go to Fukuoka again. I kind of promised my buddy Brian, though, that lives in Fukuoka, that I would go see Star Wars with him, the new Star Wars movie, at the IMAX theater in Fukuoka in late December when I'm on winter vacation. I can't go in November for sumo and back again a month later in December. Financially, it's just too much money. So I'll have to talk with him. But anyway, I do want to go see live sumo again soon, and of course, like you guys all know, I want to go to Tokyo. I've never been yet to Tokyo to see it, so that's the big next step. 3 times in Osaka, twice in Nagoya now, once in Fukuoka. So 6 times I've seen sumo live in Japan, and it's fantastic. Go do it if you come to Japan and you can. All right. Thank you so much for watching another Argo on Air. I'll be back next week. And, yeah, I don't know what we're going to talk about next week. Maybe I'll have a guest on to kick off the summer. It'll be the first Sunday of August, and I'll be starting my summer vacation. And the next week is the opening of Jurassic World and Mission Impossible Rogue Nation. So I'll be at the movies and stuff that next week. But next week, not much is happening. It's a wind down after the end of the semester. My last day of school is the 31st. So come back next Sunday and we'll have some more chats. I'll let you know if I got more cool stickers on my sticker hunt. And I'll put up links so you can go see pictures from Nagoya and stuff like that. But let me go put up the sumo for the people that are waiting. Peace. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.